driving for a while and you feel like you've hit a plateau and you're just not improving anymore. You've upgraded your hardware, but you're still not able to be as fast as you would like. Well, guess what? I did that too, okay? I'm as guilty as you are. And that's exactly why Racine and myself created what we call the advanced way to learn. By using the techniques that we're about to show you, we were able to win national championships, and we're now coaching real-life drivers and sim racers all across the globe. So let me tell you why you absolutely need this to improve your racing skills. On this platform, you'll go through 5 learning steps. The first one is going to be to watch video lessons so you can take in all that theory. The second step will be to answer quizzes. We've created some questions to test your knowledge. Next, you'll have to partake in challenges. Here, you'll have to prove to yourself that you can apply what you've learned. You'll go on track and you'll try to beat the instructor's lap times or sector times. Following the challenge, you'll be able to send your onboard replay so instructors and other community members can help you improve. And lastly, you can get involved in the community to meet some new teammates and learn from others. This platform is a back and forth discussion between us, the instructor, and you, the students. If you're serious about becoming the best driver out there, this is the advanced way to learn.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Hello everybody and welcome to Martinsville as we get ready for 7 of the PRL Cup Series in our final season of 2024. We've come to our slowest racetrack all season long as we go back to back on short track racing this week at Martinsville, next week at Phoenix, before we get to our finale at Atlanta. Myself, your delirium, Reese Gardner, with you here for this round of the championship, and it's good to have you back alongside me, Reese. You've picked quite the 2 races to come to the PRL Cup Series, I've got to say, from the high banks of Talladega to the no banks of Martinsville.
Yeah, indeed. I'm pretty much running the gamut of the types of tracks, like the very extremes of the scale, you could say. Martinsville for round 7, the oldest track still on the NASCAR Cup schedule, dating all the way from the 1940s. But of course, going to Phoenix and Atlanta to end off the season. We've only got 2 rounds to go in season 4, and only 2 rounds to go for the overall 2024 championship, putting together all the results from all the seasons completed this year.
Yeah, 75 years of history around this place, and we'll be writing a small part of that again here later tonight. It is Gabriel Perry currently leading the standings by 12 points ahead of James O'Brien, who we don't believe is here today, unless he's made a very late appearance. We have got Abner Acosta up there as well, with Jean-Michel Gagnon, Unai Yamas, who is just under 50 points away from the current championship lead. Pat Harvey is 50 points away. Rob Bisor Jr. is 7th ahead of Lou Christian, Stephen Kirby and Scotty Johnson, all very close for that 5th place in the standings. Private label Team Hype currently lead the team standings by 107 points, ahead of Saltpep Precision Racing, DDI Motorsports, Waterback Racing and Necki Racing Team round out the team's standings. Before we get racing, it's time to thank the sponsors who make this broadcast possible, starting with Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASL products using the Precision 5 coupon code. RaceSpot offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceSpotSimRacing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. The booking of products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Mr. Head's iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. A big thanks to all of those sponsors who make these broadcasts possible each and every night here on RaceSpotTV. And it's Sunday night Cup Series racing. Here's how they'll line up, with Richard Regan Jr. taking the pole position, Mark Kanan alongside, with Mike Richter 3rd and Abner Acosta down in 4th. It's series leader Gabriel Perry, who's 5th, and Robert Bisor Jr., who will start from 6th. Stephen Kirby and Pat Harvey will share row 4, ahead of Lou Christian and Thomas Sink, making his first appearance of the season. It's Scotty Johnson and Jean-Michel Gagnon sharing row 6, followed by Colton Easterday, who had a pretty early retirement last week at Homestead. Jose Medina alongside him. Patrick Cowgill and Waldo Warden round out row 8, ahead of Matthew Denny, the final driver set a time. Robbie Wilson and Alex Hillman are on the grid as well at the back, although unfortunately Robbie Wilson will not be taking the start. He said, "I don't want to be a moving chicane." Bit harsh on himself really, but he's decided to rule himself out of this one. 78 Fahrenheit on the circuit. It is November after all, so relatively cool temperatures, and the drivers will be very pleased about that, I would have thought, coming into this race. With a pole position then for Richard Regan Jr. He takes a chance at further extending his record as the best driver around here. To coin an American phrase, he's the winningest driver. I don't like that phrase, but anyway, I've used it. He's won the most round here. He's put himself in the perfect position to do it again.
Yeah, certainly has. This is the 11th time that the Cup Series will race at Martinsville, and there's plenty of interesting racing to come around here. It's a very short track. Average speed's incredibly low, and it's going to be really hard on the brakes and the tires. The drivers will need to tweak their brake bias quite a bit over the course of the run here. It of course is a fixed series, so the brake bias is just about one of the only things you can change on the car on board. So they'll be trying to get that rotation into these very tight corners all the way through.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned the lower temperatures. They should help that with that a little bit. These lower temperatures, however, still not ideal. It is a short and difficult circuit, which Richard Regan Jr. has won on 4 occasions here, only been on pole once before tonight, although he's now doubled up and he's on 2. Perhaps more importantly is the fact that James O'Brien, who has a pole in Martinsville history here, is not here tonight, so his drop week will be taken tonight, and effectively he will add 42 points to his score. Now that still means he could gain ground in the championship, depending on what happens to Gabriel Perry and others. Let's see as we make our way round 3 and 4 and get ready to see the green flag at Martinsville. Round 7 of the PRL Cup Series underway.
Good initial run there from Richard Regan Jr. Got the inside line for 1 and 2, and he's already well ahead of Mark Kalin, side by side for 3rd as Mike Richter is trying his best to pass Abner Acosta. The yellow flag is already out, though. We've got a car around. It looks like Jean-Michel Gagnon.
Well, we've never gone caution-free here at Martinsville. That may not surprise you to learn that, and with the minimum we've ever had is 3, but within 30 seconds, not sure we were expecting a caution immediately. That does bring together to an end, by the way, the second longest ever green flag run without a caution in PRO history at 4 hours and 45 minutes. There's the contact between Jean-Michel Gagnon and the 95. That was who's in the 95? There isn't one.
I think it was good. Colton Easterday that turned him around there.
Okay, he's adding numbers clearly to his car. But anyway, classic Martinsville there. Are we going with? I mean, or has Gagnon come down on Easterday there for you?
Yeah, it's difficult to tell. I mean, I guess, you could say with pretty much every incident it's typical Martinsville, but Easterday was a bit far behind on the way into the corner. He saw the door open on the inside, but it wasn't quite open enough, I think. Gagnon just trying to set up, potentially to look after his tyres by running a bit wider through the turns.
Yeah, too early for a pit stop, so we'll continue on without one of those. As I mentioned, that is the second longest green flag run ever in the PRL Cup Series. It was the first time as well at Homestead Miami Speedway we'd gone 4 races caution-free. Would you believe it, Reece? Since the last time you've been here, we still haven't had a caution until now. So I know it's been
your bag luck charm.
Maybe, yeah. Although, you got us through an entire race at Talladega without a yellow flag, so I'd say you're very much not the curse. but there we go. We've already got one here at Martinsville. Sometimes, I get the feeling, especially with these early cautions, sometimes they can really set the tone for a very messy stop-start race, or we could get past this quite quickly, and our next run could be quite long.
Yeah, certainly. It could go either way. We gotta remember though that it's a reasonably small field as far as Cup Series fields go. Participation has dropped off towards the end of the year in this Sunday Cup Series. If the circumstances were different, there'd be even more cars on track, and there'd probably be even more of a likelihood for cautions. But these cars are big and heavy, so they do like to get the elbows out around here.
The advantage of being at Martinsville, though, of course, is that we can go back green within 3 minutes of the caution being flown. So that does alleviate some concerns about the end of the race. Hopefully we do get a run to the green flag at the very end, like we have had on 5 out of 6 occasions so far. Green flag back in the air, though, at Martinsville, and it's a picture-perfect restart again for Richard Regan Jr., who did that on the actual start. He's executed the restart in a very similar fashion.
Yeah, he certainly has. Mark Kalin still running in second. Abner Acosta has managed to put Mike Richter behind him as well. A little bit of too wide further back. Gabriel Perry not getting the best of runs out of turn 4 as we're on board with Stephen Kirby. Racing a bit further down in the field, currently 8th, and you see the pass being made there. That's Gabriel Perry running wide, and Luke Christian getting through into 5th. Christian, the biggest gainer in the field so far, up 4 spots.
Slide. And another caution. Kalin. Mark Kalin goes around off of turn 4. And that may have been with help from Mike Richter. A wry smile on the face of Mark Kalin. Hopefully he doesn't swear as we cut to him this week. That'd be nice. As he gets back going, he's not saying anything. That's the safe thing to do. As they all sort themselves out. A lot of changing of positions under caution actually going on at the moment. Well, at least he stays on the lead lap, but I'm afraid his great qualifying, his front row qualifying, has been very quickly turned around here.
Yeah, and the biggest shame of all is that Kalen did that to himself. It was done all on his own. He just spun it up coming out of turn 4, and Abner Acosta behind had nowhere to go. T-boned him up high.
Wow. I falsely accused, I think, Mike Richter of getting into contact. You're right. It was a completely solo incident there for Mark Kalen, which is a bit of a surprise to see, really. But there you go. He's in the pit lane now. And not even sure if the pit lane was open, to be honest with you. But anyway, he's in. And we might well see Abner Acosta in as well. No, he decides to stay out. Clearly the damage wasn't that bad on the 5.
Yeah, the front end is a little caved in there on that Camaro, but Martinsville's a very low-speed track, so the radiator would already be quite open anyway. Kalen has jumped into the pits. He's still stopped in the lane. I saw him taking tyres, which makes sense. If you've spun your way out, then get to the back of the field, get some fresh rubber on, and maybe you'll try and have something to fight with at the end. He rejoins, still on the lead lap, thankfully. 25 seconds stop for him. No one else has come into the lane just yet.
Expertly timed as well, because he got out just in front of the pace car, which allows him to stay on the lead lap and get back around to start from last. So we'll have a restart at the end of the next lap, I would expect, but I wonder whether this will set the tone for a very messy Martinsville race indeed, or whether we are going to get settled in here. As I mentioned earlier, the minimum cautions round here in PRO history is 3 in our 10 previous appearances at this circuit. I find it difficult to believe we're going to go 54 minutes with only one more caution, though.
Yeah, certainly. We've only just ticked around to start the 11th lap of the race, so we've got a very long way to go. We're not even 10 minutes in, with 53 and a half minutes remaining on the clock or thereabouts. Foreman back up too wide. Let's get ready to go for the start. Regan has been executing those starts perfectly. Don't expect any different this time.
Especially with Abner Acosta alongside. Richard Regan Jr. should be able to get out ahead and into the lead again. Let's see as he gets racing again at Martinsville. It's going to be Richter and Acosta for second, although you saw Richter there just braking early into 1 and 2, allowing the 5 round the outside to get up into second place again.
Yeah, Richter got squeezed by Lou Christian as around goes Gabriel Perry. That was a very clear tap around that time. Looked like the Camaro of Thomas Sink that was involved in that. Sink in the in-sim chat before the race said, "I'm sorry if I kill you all now." Well, that's already one victim claimed.
He might have to apologise to Gabriel Perry, indeed, after that. Well, it's a big day for Perry. As I mentioned, he can't take his drop week anymore because he finished in, not this week anyway. Yeah, as you say, pretty self-explanatory, that one, really. Finished in 19th, which is lower than anyone's going to finish today, so he can't take this as his drop week unless he gets a mammoth amount of penalties, but even that would lose him the championship lead to James O'Brien, who, as I mentioned, is scoring 42 points from this round. He gained those 42 points by finishing 3rd at Las Vegas and getting a bonus point as well. And so that's what we're looking at here. If Perry's off the podium, then he would lose that championship lead. So effectively, you're seeing the live standings on there, but effectively, James O'Brien will be plus 42 on the day. That would lift him well ahead of Gabriel Perry as things stand.
Yeah, indeed. Go over 304 points, I believe, if those live standings are anything to go by. Those live standings, of course, do not count drop rounds.
Yeah, that does make things a little bit extra complicated. Or it's not adding this as a drop round for James O'Brien. It's adding the ones previous to this round, but not this round as a drop round, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it does.
Okay.
Makes enough sense for the time being.
Okay, fine. Well, there we go. We'll leave it at that then for now. One more lap then, it looks like, before we get back racing again. Nobody pitted last time round either. And, well, if we keep having really short green flag runs like this, then we won't need any pit stops, to be honest, and track position will become the real key.
Yeah, definitely looks like it, and that just gives more of an advantage to Regan because he's been nailing those restarts, getting on the power nice and early in the Geico start zone, and he's just been well ahead of everyone else. He doesn't have to do much if any work other than nailing that getaway.
I mean, it does help when your teammates are around, but yeah, he's got to do the business himself as well, and he has done so far in 2 restarts, or a restart I should say, and an actual start. Second restart to come though, after our second caution of the day. Mark Kaelin, Gabriel Perry spinning around Gagnon as well. Third caution of the day, excuse me, I'm already losing count for the first 10 minutes of this one. Let's see what we get going with this one then, as we get green flag racing again. Acosta did not react at all there, and Richter has almost no choice but to get down his inside. Again though, Acosta's going to be allowed to run around the outside. Luke Christian trying to take advantage of this.
All right, here we go then. Let's see if this green flag run ends up going longer than a lap or two. Very wide for Mike Richter. That's very high for him. So he's going to lose out to Lou Christian and Thomas Sink, and Pat Harvey's going to try and get up the inside of him now. You want to try and be on the inside early on at Martinsville, but sometimes the middle line is where you want to be. A little bit more banking up there, and there's not much grip to spare on the concrete. For now, looks like Richter's building up a good run around the outside, and he'll protect the position.
He will. Oh, brakes too late though. He gets out the groove. You don't want to get out of that sort of concrete beige colour on the inside line, and you will be in trouble if you do. Pat Harvey goes through, Stephen Kirby goes through, Walden fires down the inside into 3 and 4 to try and take 7th away.
He almost succeeds, but have a look at Richter. He's very late on the brakes. He's trying to just fire that car into the corners. Big slide in the background there for looked like Jean-Michel Gagnon, as the racing starts to get even more intense here up the top. Now Patrick Cowgill's up the inside of Richter.
And Richter's trying to go so deep into the corners that he's almost falling out the groove again and again, and it's happened again, I'm afraid. He's down to 9th. That's 6 places lost on this restart alone. We've not even been going 2 minutes, and he's already down into 9th place. He's really got to regather himself here. He's got to, we don't have to say this in NASCAR Cup Series racing, he's got to find his braking zone again. He's been missing it these last couple of minutes.
Yeah, the brakes are so important at Martinsville, and you see lockups there ahead. Looks like that's Walden, who might need to wind his brake bias back a little bit, otherwise he's going to burn up those fronts. You need those to get into the turns.
Yeah, certainly. Mentioned it's a cool day in the start of November, but it doesn't mean that you're completely out the water for temperature management. Mike Richter will just have to regather himself here and look to move back through the field one by one. The driver who's been doing that further back, by the way, is Gabriel Perry, who's now 13th in the number 13. It's a big day of recovery now needed for him, as James O'Brien, as things stand, will be overtaking him. There he goes, slapping the wall out of turn 4. Can't afford to do that too many more times, but anyway, he is at least up 4 places since the restart.
Yeah, good recovery so far for Perry, and it wasn't due to any driver error on his own part, at least from what I could see. You see him making good use of the rear tyres there, tapping the wall a little bit, but not chastaining it. You're not allowed to do that, as there's a little bit of contact ahead. That's Easterday getting ahead of Scotty Johnson. A little bit of a bump and run there.
A little bit of a lock-up, that's what the smoke was all about here, and round the outside goes Johnson. That's too fast as well. He'll be out the groove there, and very nearly was hit up the rear by Mathieu Denis, who was just trying to get out the corner as well. Couldn't, no, and Gabriel Perry is right here now as well. He'll be pleased they're all stuck up ahead of him so that he can pick them off one by one, but he would really rather they weren't side by side in front of him like this, as Mark Kaelin joins as well.
Lovely little pack this. For now, Denise has definitely got the traction on the rear. Johnson now up high and having to make way for Gabriel Perry, getting up into 12th spot. And wow, he certainly hooked it up on the exits as well. Same for Kaelin. Seems like the outside line is not quite where you want to be right now. Potentially it will be later on in the race. Let's see what Kaelin can do here as he tries to find his way past Perry.
He's on the newest tyres of everyone, don't forget here, Mark Kaelin, for what that's worth at this early stage in the race, but might be able to use that to his advantage. Further behind, side by side between Johnson and Bissor Jr. This is the 3 car going down the inside. Rob Bissor Jr. having a fantastic season. Don't think he's been outside the top 10 yet in races. Excuse me, he has been on one occasion at Vegas, but mostly inside the top 10. Right now needs to recover a little bit and is currently 15th after passing Scotty Johnson, who's now down into 60th. But look at how far off the front of the field these guys are getting already. Richard Regan Jr. is gone 19 second lap times or so. These guys are already 13 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good racing going on as Denise has found the wall. No caution. We will stay green, but it looks like he might have gone a little bit deep there in 1 and 2.
Was that assisted or not will be the next question, I suppose. But for now, we stay green. Just under 15 minutes into this race at Martinsville. Too late on the brakes from Gabriel Perry, who gets it wrong into turn 1. Mark Cannon gets close. It was indeed self-inflicted from Mathieu Denis, but he doesn't spin round.
Yeah, the safer barrier saved him there. Probably just trailing the brakes a little too much into the turns, maybe a bit too much brake on the rear, sending him around, plus being a bit too deep as well. Once you lose it here at Martinsville, it's very difficult to recover. But yeah, you're right, all the racing there's really been going on in the back half of the field. There's not much to talk about outside of that area. Kalen basically battling to get back into the top 10. And this is all the racing that we're having at the moment. Regan very fast up the front as Easterday has found the wall there. Yeah, Regan's just been setting incredibly fast lap times. He's running consistently 0.2 faster than everybody else.
It's remarkable, really. And already getting onto the back of Mathieu Denis nearly to lap him. So that's got to be a big concern, even for drivers like Gabriel Perry and Mark Kalin, who clearly do have top 5 kind of speed, but are caught behind and outside the top 10 in one case because of incidents early on in this race. They are 12 seconds off Regan Jr. at the moment. They've got to be really concerned about being lapped here. And Mathieu Denis, not as concerned, I suppose, as Mathieu Denis, who's now only 2 seconds ahead.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be difficult. I mean, this is something that you really have to keep in mind in short track racing, especially at Martinsville, is when you're coming up to lap everybody else. That can result in quite a bit of drama. There isn't really any blue flag rules in oval racing, so they don't have any obligation to get out of the way when Regan comes around. That's what Abner Acosta will be hoping for, that Regan gets held up here.
Yeah, it will. 5 seconds is margin. Jose Martina and Johnson go side by side, but that's because Johnson's in the pit lane here. Don't know what that's all about from him. Oh my goodness, he's going quickly as well. That is going to be the biggest penalty you've ever seen. And that might be him parking it for the day. Actually, yeah, it looks like it is. Not sure what he's unhappy with, but he might well be parking that one, I'm afraid. So that's one driver already a lap down in this race. This is the battle for second, would you believe it? 5.5 seconds off the lead as we look at Gabriel Perry's progress. He has got back into the series lead in 10th or 11th place, but he just loses a place at the moment. And there he goes, loses a point of his championship lead to James O'Brien, who of course is scoring 42 points today, as now shown in the standings, because of his drop week.
Yep, indeed. So Perry is just trying to focus on damage limitation for the time being. Same as Abner Acosta here, who's trying to keep second place in the race away from Lou Christian. Abner's pace has just dropped. He is falling away from Richard Regan. Something chronic here. The gap for the lead now out to 6 seconds, as it seems like Christian is getting ever more impatient to get by. This is the number 67 of Pat Harvey. A little bit of oversteer in the middle of the corner and losing positions as a result.
Huge slide, and very nearly causing a caution there as Mike Richter goes down the inside of Warder Warden for 7th. Oh, that was close. And he gets through in the end. A big lock-up in the background from Gabriel Perry, who's now arriving on the scene with Mark Kalin as well.
Yeah, can these two find their way through is the big question. On board with Perry, coming round to start his 42nd lap of this race, a little bit wide for Walden ahead, and that might give half a chance for Kalin to make his way through. But man, you use the tyres up so much here at Martinsville. You have to be confident, you have to be precise on the throttle to get moves done.
We are certainly entering our first long green flag run of the day as Mark Kalin gets to the back there of, just as I've said that, Abner Acosta's been nosed into the wall again here. That car wasn't that damaged after hitting Mark Kalin. He's been in the wall again, I think.
Yeah, well, I think the front damage is still from when he hit Kalin, but it was a little tap around from Lou Christian, and Acosta had to bounce over the curbs to get that thing recovered. He's now fallen to 4th.
I don't remember the damage being that bad, actually, but yeah, crikey, that's not good at all. And that is going to, well, he's going to remember that, we'll put it that way. Luke Christian may well be on the receiving end of something similar later.
Yeah, very well, maybe. That's how short track racing works, whether you're in a street stock or a NASCAR Cup machine. Well, keeping an eye on the 109 of Stephen Kirby here, still getting harassed by Patrick Cowgill, and for now, Cowgill's mid-corner speed is looking good. He's been looking after these tyres. He's run very consistently. He's up 9 spots now, Patrick, in this first stint, and man, you see the lack of confidence there from Kirby. He's just not able to get the power down.
Yeah, it's becoming tricky as Walden is now losing a place to Kerry, gives him a bit of a bump for his trouble on the way past. But that's Perry up another place and another point gained, now 4 points. Of course, those bonus points are not taken into account in the live standings just yet, largely because they are unknowable as to where they're going to go while we're live. We'll do our very best to keep up with that at Atlanta in 2 weeks' time for our final race of the season, but they are largely unknowable, so we'll keep it to race points in the top right, and Gabriel Perry's lead would remain, but he would be losing points as there's lockups up ahead. I think that must have been Stephen Kirby, who was one of them. He lost a place to Cowgill and firing down the inside of Richter. That was too deep on the brakes, surely, and back through goes Kirby, but briefly.
Yeah, Cowgill lining up the throttle nicely, and he's going to go deep into the corner now to try and... he was trying to ride the edge of the concrete, but it didn't work. Get up into the asphalt. There's no rubber out there, and he'll have to concede and try again later.
I've seen an unbelievable amount of people missing the concrete groove here. It's been remarkable. Jean-Michel Gagnon, meanwhile, has hit the back of... That looked like Pat Harvey from that angle. It might not have been, but... that was not great, I'm afraid, and he's now a lap down, actually, Gagnon. In fact, only 12 remain on the lead lap, and these guys are still pretty perilously close to being lapped.
Yeah, the pace of Richard Regan Jr. has just been insurmountable by everyone else. His overall lead over Lou Christian now approaching 8 seconds. This is a ridiculous pace from the number 56. It's
quite astonishing. I'm just slightly concerned he's shredding his tyres to pieces, expecting another caution soon, and it might not come. That's my only concern, but we'll see about that anyway. We know that he's strong round here. He's won the most races round here. If he were to win tonight, he would win, get his win percentage very near half of our races here at Martinsville, which is pretty remarkable. With 5, if he were to be able to take the win, that would also be whatever. 5 over 8 years overall. I don't know. That's quite a percentage, though, of an overall wins in the PRL to be just at one circuit in one series as well here in the PRL Cup Series. Of course, other Oval Series been here in the past as well, as we continue to follow the battle for 6th place. On board now with Mark Kaelin, who's been given a gift by Mike Richter.
Yeah, of course, Richter and Kaelin, I believe, are teammates at Selpic Precision Racing, so Richter might have just allowed Mark through there because he could see he was clearly looking very fast, and now Richter's going to try and keep Gabriel Perry behind to help out the number 62. Kaelin recovering fantastically from his earlier self-inflicted spin. Now he's only down 5 from where he started, but man, we're seeing some really good drives from many people. Patrick Cowgill in particular, he's now harassing the back of Abner Acosta, who would have already burnt through his tyres trying to keep up with Richard Regan. And have a look at the racing coming into turn 3 and 4. This is a run here from Stephen Kirby. It looks like he's trying his best to get up on Patrick Cowgill.
And contact! Richter goes around and the caution will fly. 37 minutes to go. Perry was down the inside. I think he was absolutely in his right to be alongside there as well, by the way. We'll of course get a replay in a few moments' time, but contact between Perry and Richter has seen the 51 now a lap down, and Perry move up to 8th place.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of a lock-up for Perry coming into the corner there as the safety car, the pace car, sorry, comes out. Yeah, Richter turned in, obviously expecting Perry to be up his inside a little. He left a car width of space, but Perry rapidly started taking more of that once the front locked up.
Richard Regan Jr. is going to have a huge advantage to take into the pit lane cycle here as we have a look at the replays before we get the race off pit lane. Perry got a great run out of turn 4. He already hit the back of Richter in a bit of a misjudgment. He was down the inside. He was pretty far towards the inside. He was quite close to the curb as well. I don't know. Bit 50-50 really. Just one of those Martinsville things. Slightly surprised actually that amount of contact would cause a car to spin around so sort of in a 360 like that actually at these speeds. But anyway, Richter has indeed spun around in a 360 and he's now down in 15th.
Yeah, well, the speeds that you're still carrying into the turns here high enough that the car was really loaded up at the time, and so an ever so slight tap there from Gabriel Perry sending him around. You could see that there was some overlap, but like I mentioned, Perry locked up slightly. No surprise to see that almost everybody has come into the pit lane, but interestingly, Robert Bisol Jr. has stayed out. Seems the same for Gagnon and Medina, but yeah, everyone aside from them taking a visit to the pit lane.
I think what Gagnon and Medina have done is very smart here. They've realised that everyone on the lead lap's pitted. They can get the wave around without a free pass, and so they're banking on there being a caution in the next, 10 minutes or so even would do for them, unless they make a slightly botched call to do it now. I think Robert Bisol Jr. took the free pass, so he didn't quite realise when he was going to be coming down pit lane or what was going on there. Whether he was confused or he knew what he was doing, he's going to pit now and drop to the back of the lead lap.
Yeah, well, get some fresh tyres on it, and don't forget Bisol was running on top 10 pace in qualifying, so with some fresh tyres on board, he might be able to fight, at least be able to get past Gagnon and Medina. But regardless, this is going to be a full reset for most of the field. Not too sure what the fuel situation is, but at the very least, I think tyres are a bit more important here at Martinsville.
I think so. I think the fuel that they will have taken on in this stint is probably enough to do them for the day, actually, such as the low consumption round here. You're right, though, it is tyres that everyone really craves, but you don't want to be caught making a green flag stop. I mean, if this race does go green for the next over half an hour, I think the guys will just stay out and deal with it instead of pitting, because it will cost them about 3 laps.
Yeah, indeed. One thing you don't want to do is pit under green flag conditions here unless it's absolutely necessary. Well, lights are off on the pace car. We're going to be getting ready for the third restart of the day here. This was the 4th caution of the night. Richard Regan Jr. expecting him to get away to another lead. His pace, especially when the tyres are fresh, is magnificent. But this time, he's got Lou Christian to fight with. Acosta and Cowgill will try and chase him down.
Only the front 4 rows, for whatever reason, go double file, but the rest of them single file in the background as we go green flag racing again at Martinsville. Acosta needing to take advantage of being on the inside this time round and not having Richter just letting him in as he was in the restarts earlier on. Luke Christian's going to fight him here as they go door to door into 3 and 4.
Trying his best to pick the power up. Usually you're able to get on the power a little straighter if you're round the outside of tight turns like this, but seems like Acosta is being mega aggressive here on the restart, and he's just managed to get the position over him. Now Patrick Cowgill will try and find his way into the top 3.
It's a great position for Cowgill to be in after starting outside the top 10, well outside the top 10. Now he's in a top 5 position, looking at 3rd into turn 1. Gabriel Perry just in behind as well. Great recovery from him from being on the edge of being 1 lap down. Now he's running in the top 5.
Yeah, good run from Perry. Excellent recovery, and Cowgill is looking a little unsettled. I saw on the exit of 1 and 2 on the last lap, he was oversteering a little bit. You know, Martinsville is pretty much a paperclip of a circuit, but there are subtle differences in the corners here. You have to take 3 and 4 a little differently to the way you take 1 and 2. You see the transition onto the banking. It looks a little more intense in turns 3 and 4, and Perry is using that to his advantage. He's creeping ever closer.
It looks really flat as well, this circuit, but it's actually 12 degrees of banking around here, which is, you'd notice that if you were...
It's not nothing.
Exactly, yeah, you would notice it if you were walking around, put it that way. There's a big wiggle. Oh, huge slide for Cowgill. Goodness me, Perry really had to get out the gas there just to avoid him. And here goes Stephen Kirby as well. No, he's been quite nice to him there. Kirby's been very nice, but Perry throws it away. There was on a plate for him, and he's just thrown it away. Stephen Kirby less nice to Gabriel Perry, and they go side by side for 5th.
Man, trying to consolidate the pass by breaking a little later into 1 and 2, and he just locked up on the inside. The caution is back out. Someone's gone off. I think it might have been Colton Easterday.
It is indeed. Involved in his 2nd caution of the day. And at the time of the caution, Perry has his nose in front, so he'll be gladly taking 5th place now as a result. What happened to Easterday? That was a solo incident for him.
Yeah, similar to what happened to Mark Kalin early on in the race. I mean, fresh tyres, everybody's trying to take advantage, but yeah, when the tyres are still reasonably cold, you can't afford to push all that hard. So Easterday will be sheepishly coming back to the back of the field from there. We remain with only one retirement from this race of the people that started. Scotty Johnson, as you mentioned, just drove it straight into the pits and parked it. I think he was a bit frustrated with how things have been going down for him, but everyone else is more than keen to suffer Martinsville for another half hour.
Suffer or enjoy, depending on your taste. Gagnon and Medina both into the pit lane. Richter, Denis and Easterday will maybe not all stay a lap down. Richter should get the free pass based on where they were. Yes, there he comes on the outside line, so he will have the chance to pit if he wants to, but not this time round. He'll have to go around once more and then pit in at the end of the next lap. Gagnon and Medina, though, both come into pit lane, and good call from them. They both got the wet round, of course, on the last caution. This is exactly what they were hoping for, but I'm just wondering whether now with 10 lap fresher tyres, whether that will make any difference at all, or whether that green flag run was not long enough really for them to really take any advantage from that.
Yeah, I have to wonder. They will be hoping for the green flag run to be long so they can make use of those new fresh tyres. Now everyone in the field has pitted at least once, with Kalin and Easterday visiting the pits twice.
Yes, I hope they didn't change tyres both times. You can only change tyres a few times in this series before you start to run out of them in pit lane, so you've got to be careful of that. 3 tyres to change onto, 3 sets of tyres, I should say, not 3 tyres, 3 sets of tyres to change onto. That's 4 sets for the race as a whole, and so you'd ideally, I think, want to split this race into thirds just to keep the set of tyres back for late on in case there's a late race restart. But you do think about it differently here at Martinsville, to be fair. I think track position, especially as we get into the final 10 minutes or so, even if these guys do end up on really old tyres, I think they might decide track position, well, it's probably a better thing to have than new tyres at the moment.
Yeah, most likely. We've seen on more than one occasion it's been very difficult to actually complete a pass cleanly. I mean, all you have to do was look at the unfortunate problems for Gabriel Perry there, trying to make passes into the corners, and he just couldn't get the thing slowed down.
Yeah, I've been very surprised by the amount of people not being able to slow it down today, to be honest with you. I don't know. I feel like making the groove is sort of the bare minimum, really. Even if you do go a little bit high into the top end of the banking, I mean, making it at all is the bare minimum. We've seen a lot of people missing it entirely today, but let's see if that cleans up a little bit in this final half an hour. Of course, plenty of people will be getting used to this circuit all over again, used to racing around this circuit all over again. Not Richard Regan Jr. He's shown exactly why he's won at this venue on 4 occasions previous. Took pole position early on, his 69th in PRL history, looking to convert that into his 80th victory in the history of the PRL as well. Green flag waves at Martinsville. We're back underway, and Acosta and Christian's battle will resume once again as well.
Yeah, for now, Christian has the inside line, which is the geometric advantage around here, but Perry's trying to fire his way up behind and get involved with this battle. They keep running side by side. They'll be slowing each other up here, so now it's going to be up to Perry to try and maximize that. And just edging ahead is Lou Christian. Now fully ahead of Abner Acosta as it's too wide behind.
Sorry, I think Acosta there decided to back out of it because he saw Perry coming up towards the back of him, thought, if I stay side by side with Christian for too much longer, Perry will soon be trying to follow through, and that could end really badly for me if I end up on the outside line. In towards one and out the other side goes Thomas Sink, really sliding as Walden and Gagnon go side by side for 10th place. Meanwhile, Walden stuck up on the inside line, Gagnon shoved to the outside, but don't forget the 646 on newest tyres of all here, already up to 11th.
Yeah, good stuff there from Jean-Michel Gagnon. We'll have to wait and see what he can do here. Walden trying his best to keep the pace up through the corners, but I've noticed he's looking a little unsettled compared to Gagnon, who has confidence on his side here.
Very much so. and better tyres underneath him too. So, meanwhile, Pat Harvey and Mark Caelan going side by side. Caelan has really recovered well from his incident and is trying to continue that now. Oh no, contact and a big crash. Our first pile-up of the day on the front straight, and it involves Harvey, Caelan, and I think Thomas Sink and Jean-Michel Gagnon seem to be involved as well.
Once again, Mark Caelan having trouble with rear traction there. He tried to get on the power earlier to consolidate the move on Pat Harvey, but I think he just hit a patch of concrete that didn't have much rubber on it, and the rear spun up on him. And unfortunately this time, it's involved multiple cars. Saw Thomas Sink get into him, Waldo Walden, Gagnon with some great avoidance, it has to be said. He did get a couple of taps, but he largely got through it without much of a problem.
Let's see, first of all, whether they pit here or not. Some of those at the back certainly do, yeah. Just the breaking of traction in the background. I think Walden must have made some contact there as well, yeah. I reckon some of those drivers who, of course, got damage from this may be in, but other than that, we may well see a pretty pit stop-free caution. I mean, I'm some ways looking at that and thinking that could have been worse, actually.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it could have been way worse. You see Gagnon there getting tapped around like a ping pong ball, but largely escaping heavy damage. I certainly hope that all of them are able to get on nicely. We're seeing pits from Harvey, Sink, and Walden. So I don't know if they'll be putting another fresh set of tyres on. They've only been out there for 23 laps, which I think is, you know, nowhere near the maximum distance tyres can go here at Martinsville. No, but I'd be tempted, since I'd be last anyway and repairing damage, so, you know, it might be worth it. Thomas Sink already has decided that that's enough. Walden and Pat Harvey playing a little bit more risky with staying on the lead lap. Need to be quick here. Walden just out in time. Harvey just out of time as well. Turns out these drivers are quite good at this. And they can time their pit stops well. That is a picture of the live points, by the way. 3 points lost for Gabriel Perry as things stand. Of course, those are provisional points because they're live. However, I think he'd take that at the start of the day, actually, especially considering he was spun around for the second caution of the day. Yeah, certainly was, and even after all of that, he's managed to find himself a position up from where he started, so there is some meagre profit from the night so far. Absolutely. Just needs to avoid any other sort of incident for the remainder and finish in the top 5, and I think he'll take the very minor points loss, and then I think even if he finishes in this situation, sets himself up in a situation where he probably knows what he has to do to close out the title now. And Abner Acosta is becoming a little bit of a distant figure in this championship. 27 points behind at the start of the day. Of course, was interrupted by the hurricane that came through last month, which meant that he couldn't race at the Roval, where he would have been extremely strong as well. So, apart from anything else, a real shame that he couldn't race there. Just because of how quick he would have been. However, that's really set him back now in the championship, especially after finishing lowly at Talladega. Got involved in a late caution, and the caution that indeed brought them to the line, dropped him 4 points, finished 12th as well. So yeah, he does need to try and gain some points somehow by finishing ahead of Gabriel Perry today, but even that might not be enough as we make our way up towards the final couple of corners again. Thomas Sink has been intermittently in pit lane, by the way. He's still trying to get repairs done, as might be the case for some of those further down the field, but not Richard Regan Jr., who holds the lead and has held the lead for the start and every restart of this race so far. 20 minutes to go at Martinsville. We're underway again as Acosta reacts brilliantly and gets back into second place. Yeah, Luke Christian was caught sleeping there. He ended up getting a little hurry up from Gabriel Perry and Patrick Cowgill behind. He manages to file into third. Perry is wide again, getting onto the asphalt. He's going to lose out a little more there, as it looks like that is Caelan coming through with plenty of dents on that Mustang. Perry this time keeping it on the concrete and gauging the power nicely, but now, oh no, that's Richter around. It is. And that was right in the midfield. Now, was Perry ahead of Caelan when the caution flew or not? Looks like not. And he will be sixth. Will Gabriel Perry after this? So Mike Richter goes around and we have another caution here at Martinsville.
and a chance to pit as well. I think there'll be some more tempted to pit now, since we've had a few restarts on these tyres. Let's see what happened though. He's alongside Pat Harvey here, is Richter. Harvey dives it in very deep, and, well, again, the question will be, did Harvey dive it deep, or did Richter come across on him?
Yeah, some extenuating circumstances there. It looked like Gagnon was a bit slow into the corner. That slowed up Besaw Jr., which ended up slowing up Richter as well. He didn't really have anywhere to go, and by that time, Pat Harvey was already up the inside. He was trying to get it done. Just a case of multiple cars trying to occupy the same piece of racetrack there. Well
avoided from everybody. Pat Harvey's still suffering with a bit of damage, as you can see on the front there. He's getting more of that repaired right now. Good avoidance from Waldo Warden, who was on the outside line there. He's also getting some more repairs done, or indeed some new tyres, not entirely sure. But that now allows Mathieu Denis to get the free pass, and so we've got everybody on the lead lap again here with 20 minutes to go, and I'd imagine that barring crashes, which of course there may well be a lot of, they will all be on the lead lap by the end of the race if things stay as they are, because I can't see there being a super long green flag run like the one we had 3 cautions into this race to bring out the 4th one.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, nice cue there for me to update my caution count. I believe we're now sitting at 5 for this race, with 90 laps almost completed by our leader, Richard Regan Jr. He's just been unflappable up the front, hasn't he? And it looks like he's one of the only cars out there with no damage.
Yeah, and that's always a mark of honour here at Martinsville. Short track racing can be pretty rough sometimes as well, and so if you can avoid a scratch, then you know you're doing well. Thomas Sink's still coming into pit lane every now and again to get repairs done. Clearly there's more damage to his car than I was really initially expecting. So we're 2 laps away from the green flag. Beginning to wonder really how Richard Regan Jr. is going to be beaten here with Abner Acosta around. I'm kind of feeling that the bump and run is sort of out of the question, because he's not going to bump his teammate, I would have thought. So how is he going to be beaten? I find it very difficult to see at the moment.
Yeah, Abner's going to have to try and find something else to try and line it up against him. We don't know how much that damage from hitting Kalen early on has affected Acosta's pace, but it seems like not much of a huge difference. So yeah, I'm honestly not sure what Acosta will be able to do. He might have to start dialing in a bit more of an aggressive setting on his brake bias, potentially try and get some extra rotation. But aside from that, I don't know what you can do to overcome Richard Regan here. He's just been dominant.
He's the most successful driver in the PRL Cup Series history around this circuit. 40% of the races we've ever done round here in the Cup Series he's won. This could be a 5th win here tonight as the pace car pulls in and Richard Regan Jr. gets ready to do it all again. We're starting to lose count of how many he's had to do now, but he's very accustomed to bringing us to the green flag and getting us back underway again. The battle, as always, will resume for second. Abner Acosta on the outside of Luke Christian.
Yeah, looks like Christian able to get the power down nicely and just stay ahead of Acosta by a little as they come into 3 and 4. Now here comes Kalen, and there's a spin behind Patrick Cowgill getting turned around, and that has involved Perry as well.
Wow, this could be big in the championship. There's significantly less race remaining for Perry to make up the places again. And when we go back racing again, it'll be probably 1/4 of an hour. This is what happened. He's on the outside line here. It was Cowgill who got pushed around, and Perry had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Stephen Kirby, the one that triggered that one. It looked like Cowgill was trying to cover him coming into the turn after a poor run off the previous one. And that just sucks for Perry, honestly, because he didn't do anything wrong. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep, there's nothing you can do there. Absolutely nothing. He will have got damage as a result of this as well. He's in pit lane. To be honest, if I was him, if I was last as well, I would be in pit lane at this point anyway. Get some new tyres on, see what that might be able to do for you, because you're not going to lose any places changing your tyres, but he might well have some damage repairs to do now, which will be the more pressing issue.
It was quite a big hit, so I'm seeing the front end of that car's caved in a little bit around the corners for Gabriel Perry. He's putting all 4 tyres back on the car, getting a fresh set here with only 16.5 minutes remaining on the clock. There's not going to be many racing laps completed here.
And there he is getting some more repairs done before he re-emerges. Now, is that all the repairs he needed to do, or did he have to get out quickly to stay on the lead lap? We'll find out in due course. Of course, I mean, Thomas Sinker still not repaired his car fully. He's back out there again now, though, and I feel like maybe now he's finally got it all done. So there we go. They're at the back together now. Gabriel Perry, as a result, then, will be losing big points in the championship. And as things stand, I believe, if my calculations are to be believed, Gabriel Perry would lose the championship lead to James O'Brien. Coming in today, of course, James O'Brien had his drop week at 42 points. He is not here today, so effectively 42 points will be added to his score. Gabriel Perry can't finish any lower than he's finished in this season, so he has got to have this race count, and that's why this restart and everyone after it is going to be so important for him.
Yeah, for sure. And just on the damage quickly before we get restarted, I mean, the average speeds are so low at this track that body damage I don't think is really worth repairing, because it's not going to affect your pace all that much. It's suspension damage that you really need to be careful of around here. At a high-speed circuit like Daytona or Talladega, yeah, you'd want the body repaired. But here at Martinsville, it's okay to go around there with a couple of body panels loose.
Let's see what Perry and 6 damage looks like at the at this restart as Richard Regan Jr. gets us back underway again. Christian trying to crowd in here from second, and he is closest probably that we've seen all day, but not close enough. And here comes Abner Acosta into 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was a very good start from Lou Christian. He was able to pressure Regan into the first corners for the first time tonight, but now with this side-by-side, 3 cars trying to fight over the same position with Kalen looking on in earnest, that means that Regan is just driving away from everybody once again.
It's been a race of domination for the 56, but who's going to finish second? Mark Kalin's trying to make sure it's him as he gets the wrath of 4. He knows not to make it 3 wide, though. Not here and not now. He will stay watching this battle. Abner Acosta and Luke Christian still locked together.
How about Gagnon as well, getting into the top 5? He'll be looking at this and licking his lips.
Yeah, he will be. Behind him is Stephen Kirby. Mike Richter's recovered from his spin not so long ago to end up 7th. Jose Martinez in the top 10 now after being a lap down. Colton East today, same for him. Waldo Walden now completes the top 10. As that is a spin for Pat Harvey. Robert Bishaw Jr. was the one who had to go around him, and for some reason we stay green.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think Harvey might have been just low enough off the circuit that it didn't trigger the caution flag. He did almost come to a stop, and the caution is finally out for a different incident. Matthew Denis.
Yeah, well, it probably should have been out for Pat Harvey, to be honest, but there we go, it's out now. And, oh dear, Pat Harvey has got that line all wrong. I'm not sure whether that was because of someone else or whether he did that on his own, but Bishaw Jr. took a bit of a whack, and then the actual caution brought out for this. Matthew Denis with Patrick Cowgill just behind. It's getting loose off of 4, is it? No, we've got to wait just for a moment. Hang on, it's coming. In towards turn 1 and 2, right where Harvey spun, then he spins in pretty similar fashion. Or was that Harvey going around him? Excuse me, Harvey spun earlier. Perry, excuse me. That was Gabriel Perry in the gold there, by the way, going out wide and avoiding him. A great piece of driving to keep his race alive effectively there.
Yeah, well, Perry's had more than enough experience of cars spinning in front of him and T-boning them, so I think he was like, I'm done with that. I'm just going to go straight to the outside and hope that the door stays open. And fortunately, it did. And Perry's found himself back up to 11th. We see Sink back in the pits to repair some more damage. No surprise to see that Harvey's gone in, as well as Waldo Walden too. Only 3 cars coming in for a pit stop on this particular cycle.
So, with this situation now, I think Perry has got back the championship lead again, based on my calculations, although it would only be by a point or 2, pending, of course, penalties, bonus points, all that kind of thing. So that could get quite complicated. But Perry, I think, would be back in the championship lead as things stand by a pretty small margin, i.e. less than 5 points, if my maths is to be believed. But there are still minutes left. Oh, that was close for Harvey as he stays on the lead up just about 11 and a half minutes to go currently. When we go back green again, it will probably be just over 10. I guess it depends really how much green flag running there is left, not how much running overall.
Yeah, I don't expect there's going to be much. I mean, if the last 10 minutes of this race stay green, I think it will be an achievement, because the longest I think we've gone without a caution has only been about 3 or 4 minutes worth of racing.
Yeah, other than that,
stopped on the start-finish straight, Pat Harvey. Looks like he's just letting the rest of the field by. I think he was instructed to.
He didn't get out ahead of the pace car quite, and so had to give up all those positions. Well, not all those positions, but that lap. And so he will need another caution before he can get the free pass back around, as the pace car doesn't quite know what to do. And so it, just to be safe, stays out for one more lap. And I don't think Richard Regan Jr. will mind too much, actually.
No, it's going to be a little bit of extra relaxation time, more time to prepare for the restart. I just went back and looked at Harvey's pit exit. The pace car was half a car length ahead of him at the point that he exited, so no surprise to see that he was instructed to fall to the back of the line.
Yep. So he needs another caution now before the end of the race, and he might well just get one. Don't forget, the cautions are about 3 minutes long round here, so if there is one in those final 3 minutes, we may get our first finish under caution since Bristol and the opening round of the season. But let's wait and see on that front, and not jump the gun, as Richard Regan Jr. again is in control of a restart. This has happened on so many occasions now. He must be very used to it. And out of the turn 4 he goes. Waits a little bit longer this time, actually, before going, and the green flag waves. Christian not reacting quite as well this time, and Abner Acosta's able to get immediately into second, just about.
Yeah, a little bit of contact between second and third there, as a heck of a run through the midfield for one of the cars there. Up the inside of Mark Kalin goes Jean-Michel Gagnon. And remember, Gagnon has the freshest tyres in the top 7, so he's got a lot to play for here in these final 9 minutes. He's got the position done, and the caution is out again. Oh, Perry again involved in an incident bringing out a caution, and Colton Easterday was the car that spun there, and he has decided to pack it in for the night. The number 9 is out.
Wow, third incident of the day for Perry, and that one was not his fault. That's Colton Easterday getting straight into the back of him, and the 13 might well be pretty livid about that one. Easterday just completely ran into the back of him there.
Yeah, pretty clear cut. This is the view back from Perry. A little bit of a tap to the wall, and Easterday thought I could probably go for this, but he just missed the braking point. Even if Perry wasn't there was no way he was making the corner. No. This is the view on board. He knew he was going to do it from a long way out, but you're right, he is not making that corner. I mean, he hit the outside wall himself there, so that might well be that for the day for him. There are the points. Gabriel Perry is still just about in front of James O'Brien, but if he finishes in 14th or worse, I know it seems unlikely now, but 14th or worse, he would lose the championship lead provisionally to James O'Brien. Again, of course, pending bonus points and pending some penalty points as well for causing cautions, which you can get. So we'll update you with those next week, of course. However, you do lose points for being involved in cautions or being the cause of cautions. Perry's been involved in 3. Whether he's just to be at fault for any of them, we'll wait and see. But those kind of things can cost him the championship lead, and this has not been an ideal day at all for Gabriel Perry, on a day where you'd think he should be gaining points with James O'Brien not here. Yeah, indeed. I mean, I know what it's like on a personal level to win a championship by not showing up, thanks to drop weeks. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a difficult circumstance for Gabriel Perry. He's going to have to do a lot of work here in the final couple of rounds. We do wish a happy wedding anniversary to James O'Brien, by the way. That's the reason he's not here tonight.
Yep. Absolutely. A happy wedding anniversary to him, and a wise call, I would say, for picking that over a PRL Cup Series race.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, love. I can't do it tonight. See, there's this pretend car race I have to do.
It's not going to go down well, is it? Anyway, hopefully we'll see him back again in 1 week's time. We'll be live again, of course, from 9 p.m. Eastern for the penultimate round of the championship, coming to you live from Phoenix. So very much hope you can join us for that. 3 points between Perry and O'Brien as things stand. I thought the pace car was coming in there. He's got them double file. but he's not got his not got his green flag racing just yet. We'll have to wait one more by the looks of things. Just over 6 minutes remaining. Only one more caution after this one before we'll start to run out of time.
The clock is ever ticking down as the lights are off on the pace car, and Richard Regan Jr., in the most familiar position of all, has led from the front all the way in this race. There hasn't been a single thing that has befallen him yet. We have to slap a very big yet on the end of that sentence. Pretty much every other driver in the field's been involved in something here, and our leader could very well have a bit of a tough job to do in this final 5.5 minutes.
Here we go. Richard Regan Jr., maybe with the last restart of the day. We'll see. With 5.5 minutes to go here at Martinsville, the green flag waves again. He's able to take the racing line again in towards turn 1. Another perfect restart from the 56, who's surely on his way to his 5th win here at Martinsville in the Cup Series. Lou Christian and Abdul Acosta have been arguing about who's going to finish second all day long. And here they argue again, out of turn 4 and over the line.
This is so tight, isn't it? 4 cars involved. Mark Kalin and Jean-Michel Gagnon looking on here with smelling blood in the water. Kalin trying to find a way up the inside of Acosta there. The door is open. Can Kalin sneak through? They almost make contact on the exit. Kalin has to get out of the throttle and he's spun, but we stay green. He didn't turn around. Oh, that's going to bring out the caution for sure.
Cowgill, Walden, both spinning round. Perry gains a couple of places. Does he? Has he spun round as well? He has. Has Perry been involved again? It looks like he may well have been. Our championship leader has been in the wars today, I'm afraid. Gabriel Perry would very much like to see the back of this round. We'll get a replay, of course, as to what happened, but the main two we saw spun round were Patrick Cowgill and Waldo Walden. This was further up front. So Mark Kalin goes for, well, yeah, he just spin in front of the field. And then in avoidance, Cowgill comes across on Walden. Eventually, that's a huge slide and a spin for Perry, who goes in rear first again here, and somehow he's still going. This is, I mean, he's out of control for a long way there.
Yeah, I mean, he made it through the initial wreck, but couldn't get it done. You see, actually, there, oh, was that a little bounce off the wall? That's a bit more complicated than I thought it would be. Perry got into the back of Walden, but Walden was trying to recover a slide, it looks like. He got into the wall, tapped Patrick Cowgill, and then, unfortunately, it just ballooned out from there.
Yeah, I think he could be in trouble with the stewards after a couple of these cautions, to be honest with you. I think we've seen a lot here today. However, he's been around a lot of cautions, and generally when you are doing that, you're going to lose points. The reason I mentioned that, he won't be picking up bonuses to get himself further ahead of James O'Brien in our live points, but he may well lose some. He's only 1 point ahead of O'Brien at the moment. If he's adjudged to be at fault for any of the cautions today, he will lose the championship lead. That's how important it is for Gabriel Perry here.
Yeah, his luck tonight has just been the worst. He's been involved somehow in just about every caution-causing incident tonight.
Yeah, it's been a rough night for him. Someone asking what the overtime rules are in a timed race. There is no overtime, unfortunately. So this next run, effectively, is overtime. We're either going to stay green to the flag with this next green flag run, or we're going to end under caution for the second time this season.
Yeah, indeed. No overtime or green-white checkered rules in the PRL NASCAR Cup Series here. It is a timed race, of course. So let's see if they manage to survive for the next couple of minutes. Lights off on the pace car, and I do apologize if my count is wrong. It may very well be, but by my estimate, this is the 8th caution of the night, and we're coming up to the 7th restart.
It feels like more, doesn't it? But
yeah.
But there you go. 2 minutes remaining. We may well squeeze 5 laps in if we're lucky. But let's see what happens on this final green flag run of the day. This is for the race. Richard Regan Jr. needing one more good restart here at Martinsville, and he should be away with the win. Out of turn 4. Has to execute, and he goes, flies away from the rest of the field again. Abner Acosta reacts well as well. And Luke Christian stuck up on the outside. Surely Richard Regan Jr. has sealed his 5th Martinsville victory with that very restart.
Perfectly executed for Regan. Christian trying to get back past Abner Acosta, but the door is shut. Jean-Michel Gagnon in the Camry will certainly be wanting to take advantage of that. Plenty of racing going on further back as well. Kalen versus Richter, side by side for the top 5 as everyone is jostling and arguing over all the remaining positions.
Perry gets down the inside of Harvey and Medina, so he's through into 10th now. Side-to-side contact as Gagnon gets third.
No!
Christian spins. He's running the top 3 all day long, and he's gonna drop down to 15th. That is heartbreak for the 21, who will finish way lower than his driving deserves.
Man, that's such a shame. He was already unsettled. Jean-Michel Gagnon was absolutely going for it on him coming into 3 and 4, and Christian tried to get it recovered, but it just wasn't settled. There was no traction in the rear, and around he went.
That is such a shame. A huge shame for Lou Christian, who will drop down. He'll be 14th in the end because Rob Bissell Jr. has retired here on the very final caution. Gabriel Perry will finish 10th by looks of things. He'll retain 3 points over O'Brien provisionally. There's the slide again. I mean, it was self-induced. The actual spinning up of the rears was self-induced as he was passed by Gagnon. I mean, I guess he wanted to push so hard to try and get that 3rd place back, but he's, I'm afraid, missed out on not only a top 3 finish, but even a top 10 finish after running in the top 3 all day long.
Yeah, a very strong drive coming to the end. It is the final lap, though, and the only car in the field to still occupy the same position he started in. Richard Regan Jr. there. Man, I mean, you couldn't ask for more, could you? That number 56 will be celebrating all the way into the night.
Absolutely. Richard Regan Jr. about to take his 80th win in the PRL Cup Series. He's now just 1 behind Abner Acosta in the all-time list. 2nd and 3rd they are. Richard Regan Jr. about to come over the line. For the 2nd time this season, we finish a race under caution, and this time it's Richard Regan Jr. who takes his 5th win in the PRL Cup Series at Martinsville and becomes our 4th different winner this season in the PRL Cup Series in 2024. He breaks the longest streak of this season. Gabriel Perry's hat-trick in the last 3 weeks comes to an end as he finishes 10th and sees his championship lead slashed by James O'Brien, who's not even here. He'll return in 1 week's time at Phoenix to try and come back in the points, of course, and maybe take the championship lead as well. But Richard Regan Jr. hasn't been worrying about any of that. He's taken a dominant race victory at Martinsville. It never looked like being anybody but him.
Yeah, it was all about the execution of the restarts and getting the traction in the rears. He looked after those rear tires and they have done their job, so he can just burn them away now. Big victory celebrations for the number 56. And also, Regan was just flat out the fastest car today. On pace, no one else could catch him.
Absolutely. Thoroughly deserving winner here at Martinsville, Richard Regan Jr. as we end at, for the 2nd time in this PRL Cup Series season. This is a very impressive burnout, by the way. He's still going. See if he can go through 3 and 4 here the wrong way. Oh, he's going to be interrupted slightly by people in the way. He's okay, though. Slaloming between them like he's a skier. Here he goes. Is he going to loop it round into the pit lane as well, or is he just going to go around the circuit? This is mightily impressive, by the way. Goodness me.
Looks like he's going for a full reverse lap here. Yeah.
Well, if his tyres hang on.
This is great.
He's done a quarter of a mile. Oh, he's just lost it. He did a quarter of a mile there in the burnout, around a corner as well. That was quite impressive. Possibly more impressive than the driving itself for the course of the day. 126 laps clocked up in the end. He finishes ahead of Abner Acosta, who makes strides in the championship as well. Jean-Michel Gagnon's new tyres served him well in the end. He eventually moved up to 3rd. Had a Mark Cannon who recovered to 4th after being involved in an early caution. Mike Richter was also involved in one. He finished 5th. Had a Stephen Kirby, Matthew Denny, who just missed out. Thomas Sink repaired a lot of damage throughout that race. Still finished 8th. Had a Jose Medina. And championship leader Gabriel Perry still 10th in that one, ahead of Pat Harvey and Waldo Warden. Patrick Cowell and Lou Christian were the final drivers on the lead lap. Real heartbreak for Christian there. Rob Bissell Jr. Dropped out towards the end. Colton Easterday dropped out 18 laps from the end after getting involved in that crash with Perry towards the end. Scotty Johnson retired pretty early on. Robbie Wilson and Alex Hillman never took the start of the race. Well, first of all chat to Abner Acosta, who finished in second place. We're still waiting for Richard Regan Jr. But while we're doing that, we'll chat to Abner. Welcome in. Good to have you with us again, Abner. Second place for you here tonight. Couldn't do anything about Richard in the end there, but how pleased or not are you with second place tonight?
I'm pleased that race is over. I mean, it was a lot of cautions, and starting second place on the restart, it's really painful every time. So I'll take a second. I mean, there was got some damage from Mark at the beginning, and I thought that was gonna hurt my car, but I think I was fine. So got lucky, I guess.
You and Luke Christian were involved in second place battles, as you just mentioned, pretty much all race long. Sometimes you were on the outside, sometimes you weren't. What was the key, though, to winning that battle, other than, I guess, restarting on the inside?
I think that was pretty much it. If you started on the inside and you had you have P1 in front of you, just start with them, and you should be able to take it. So I just kind of got lucky that we got another caution once he got that second place on the last restart, and I was just able to take it from him. But yeah, I felt like the car, I was starting to make some changes on the brake bias, and it felt better at the end, but never got really, with all the cautions, never really got to do many laps. So.
Well, congratulations on finishing second here tonight, Abner, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks very much. Abner Acosta, second place here tonight. Just in behind Richard Regan Jr., who can now join us as well. Welcome in, Richard. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on the win. What was the key for you being so quick around here at Martinsville tonight?
I don't know if there's anything specifically. I just really love Martinsville, and it's one of my fastest and most favorite tracks that we come to. So I don't get around to running the Cup car that much. And on Wednesday night, I had a huge hardware failure in the truck, so I actually had to get a new computer. So I figured I might as well shake it down here tonight for this coming Wednesday. And yeah, it's nice to get the win.
Yeah, your fifth win at Martinsville in PRL Cup Series history. I guess that underscores the fact that you do really enjoy going around here. And you had plenty of practice at restarts as well during those cautions. First of all, was it a bit annoying to have to restart so often? And second of all, what was the key to getting those restarts so perfect each time as well?
Yeah, I mean, having a couple of restarts isn't bad, but when we can't even get a couple laps under green per run, it kind of isn't that fun. And basically the key to restarts is just be unpredictable for the guy in second, and the leader has such an advantage on restarts here, and at most tracks too. But it was nice that we had that nice green flag run in the early part of the race, and I was hoping that we could get another one of those. And but yeah, that's sometimes how it is at Martinsville.
Well, good to have you back in the PRL Cup Series tonight. Congratulations on the win, and thanks for coming to chat to us.
Thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to State Analyzer, Nina's and Paints, Mission 22, JZ Photography, Multiple Sclerosis Society, Regenboog Motorsports, everybody at the PRL, and you guys at RaceSpot.
Thanks very much, Richard Regan Jr. there, first place tonight here at Martinsville in the PRL Cup Series. Ahead as well of Jean-Michel in third place today. Welcome in, Jean-Michel. Good to have you with us. And well, talk to us a little bit about that race. You were on newer tyres for the last half an hour or so. You slowly picked off cars and got up into third place. How was Martinsville generally here tonight?
Yeah, there was a lot of caution, but I managed to get some good restarts and gain some spot at every yellow flag. So that's pretty much how I did it, because I had a terrible start of the race.
Yeah, I mean, how was easy or hard was it to stay out of being involved in cautions? I know that pretty much everybody was involved in at least one tonight, but how difficult was it to stay out of trouble?
Yeah, you just had to watch in front end and hope for the best, because it's so small there that you were going to get involved in the wreck at some point. But luckily, I could recover from that, and P3, I'm really happy with that.
Well, congratulations on finishing third tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. Jean-Michel Gagnon in their third place tonight here in the PRL Cup Series at Martinsville. And finally, fourth place in the standings, by the way, is Jean-Michel. He'll be making strides today. Finally, we can also chat to Mark Kalin, who finished in fourth tonight. Welcome in, Mark. Good to have you with us as well. Fourth place for you tonight, recovering from, was it the first or second caution of the day that you spun out of turn 4? How was the recovery from that?
difficult. This car, if you just barely tap the throttle either too soon or too much on corner exit, it takes very little for it to loop around, and unfortunately saw that with me tonight twice. I mean, it was fun driving through the pack on that long green flag run we had. I started 16th, drove up to 6th before the caution came out again. But on that second one, it was just caution after caution after caution, so it was a lot harder for you to get through the pack. But it was a great recovery drive for me. I feel bad for all the people I damaged tonight, but I mean, it's Martinsville, and it's just one of those things. It's very tough in this particular car, as we saw tonight.
I was going to ask as well, how much of that was down, the rear difficulties you're talking about getting on the power? How much is that down to Martinsville and the fact you're getting up from such slow speeds around here comparatively with other circuits? And how much is it about this fixed setup car and the way that you can't really tune these things out of the car?
Yeah, that's definitely a factor in the difficulty of driving around Martinsville. And then if you're stuck on the outside, there's just not a lot of grip to go around if you're trying to make a move. And that's what happened with me on the outside of Pat, and I just gassed it a little too much, and the rear end came around on me, causing a big chain reaction wreck. But yeah, I mean, the next gen car, even with an open setup, is not easy to drive. It's probably easier than fixed, but it's still a difficult car to master. Obviously some people get it and some people don't. I'm kind of like in the middle. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But yeah, I mean, Martinsville is one of my favorite tracks, and I'm usually pretty good here. Got the win in the truck series on Wednesday, and I'll take a 4th place finish after all the chaos tonight.
Absolutely, congratulations on that, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thank you guys, y'all have a good night.
Thanks very much. Mark Cannon there from 4th place here tonight. And finally, sneaking his way in, Patrick Cowgill, as he so often does, is stuck in as well. So we'll quickly chat to him too. Welcome in, Patrick. Good to have you with us. And 13th place finish for you here tonight, involved in a couple of the cautions. How was it generally?
Well, the finish was disappointing. But yeah, the car felt good. Me and Richard have been working on my settings and stuff for my wheel and my pedals and all that stuff, and he had me dialed in pretty good, and I felt really good tonight and everything, and just some unfortunate events sent me right to the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how difficult was it to avoid those once they were happening in front of you? I feel like it's almost a repetitive cycle. If you end up at the back, you get caught up in more crashes almost.
For the most part, I felt it was all right. I mean, there were a few of them that I kind of got a little scared in, but for the most part, they were pretty easy to navigate around.
Obviously, as you say, shame about the result, but great to have you back out again in the series as always, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Patrick Cowgill, their 13th tonight in the PRL Cup Series. That's just about it from us here at Martinsville. We'll be back next week, of course, with Phoenix as our short track doubleheader, if you want to call Phoenix a short track these days. Continues. That'll be live from 9 p.m. Eastern, of course, next week. We got kind of the race we were expecting here at Martinsville tonight, Reese. It was stop-start sometimes. We got a nice, decent green flag run in the middle there as well, but it was mostly pure Martinsville.
Yeah, Martinsville gonna Martinsville, and well, the drivers who were able to stay out of trouble came out on top, as you'd expect. But we only have 2 rounds to go in this season. Can't wait to see what Phoenix brings. And I would agree that it is the short track definition for Phoenix is a little liberal, but you know, it races well enough for a short track. Can't wait to see how it goes there.
Absolutely. That's got used to breaking rules. It's fine. We will be there live from 9 p.m. Eastern, as always, on Sunday night. Make sure you join us again tomorrow, of course, for LMP3 GT4 action once again. That's also going live from 9 p.m. Eastern, so look forward to your company then. For now, I've been Ewan Lear alongside Reece Gardner, and Hugo Louise has been behind the cameras. We'll see you in 1 week's time for the penultimate round of the PRL Cup Series as the championship battle tightens. It's goodbye for now.